Welcome to the next level, boys, girls, and all in between. Sorry to keep you all waiting so long for this.
At this rate, it's going to be my 30th anniversary. When are we going to get to Sonic 2?
Sonic 1 is finally 30 years old. Of course we were going to do it now. Be patient, Wolf Boy.
We could have just done Sonic 2 in the meantime. I mean, at this point, you are just doing this to piss me off.
Oh, shut up, Prower. It's time for our evil Australian landlord to pop in.
I prefer the term dictator. Ain't I a stinker?
Well, you do put the dick in dictator.
And the tater in dictator, 'cause you're fat. Fatty.
Anyways, I have got a new inmate for you.
Wait, really? Ooh.
Oh, can it be a goth girl? A cosplayer specializes in Evermore cartoon back characters? Hell, at this point, I'll take a Barbie doll. Please, for the love of butter, I need a woman, or a woman-shaped object.
Will you relax? You act like the internet doesn't exist.
Oh, that's right, the internet! I'll be right back.
Gross. Alright, who's it gonna be?
Hey guys.
Oh, thank God, somebody normal.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Sonic the Hedgehog 1 is 30 years old. It's still kind of hard to process that. I just hope I do the game justice.
Can't do worse than the original advertisements.
Danita Stokes, president of HAG.
It's bad enough that Sega Genesis has the most 16-bit games, but this new Sonic the Hedgehog, oh, he really doth my doilies.
What?
He really doth my doilies.
Good night, everybody?
Well, what's the hurry, mister?
Okay, moving on.
Now, get Sonic free when you buy a Sega Genesis system at its new price of $149.99.
The year was 1990. In America, Nintendo had full dominance over the video game industry. The huge success of the Nintendo Entertainment System had basically saved the industry in North America, and shut out any real chance of competitors coming in and taking steam from Nintendo for a few reasons. And when you're really the only top dog in the business, most of the smaller companies like Capcom or Konami wouldn't dare challenge Nintendo. It was making money, and that was the important thing. Why bite the hand that feeds you?
Yeah, Prower.
You had Alfredo sauce on your fingertips. I couldn't resist.
While Sega was still in third place in Japan, the arcade business was lucrative for Sega. Unfortunately, the Genesis, the Mega Drive everywhere else, had not set the world on fire the way they had hoped. Sure, for the time it was the strongest console, as the NEC PC engine, although capable of 16-bit graphics, and it was giving Nintendo in Japan some real competition, it was still a console with an 8-bit CPU and was not truthfully 16-bit. The Super Famicom, the successor to the Nintendo Entertainment System, or Famicom, was on its way aiming for a 1989 release. And while some good games were coming out soon, or were already out for the Genesis, it wasn't enough. Alex Kidd, the current mascot of Sega at that time, had failed.
Because his games are garbage!
And Sega had to turn things around fast, because Super Mario Bros. 3 had taken away most of the hype from the Sega platform. At this point, consumers were choosing to wait until the Super Famicom, otherwise known as the Super Nintendo, would be made available.
I mean, that's understandable. Nintendo was on top of the world with NEC only posing a threat in any form in Japan. Why wouldn't you wait for the next Nintendo platform?
At that time, 24-year-old Yuji Naka was one of Sega's best programmers. While he had started working on a space-themed game called Metal Lancer, revealed in 2016, this was cancelled for unknown reasons, and Naka was to send a list of game ideas he'd like to work on to his superior. While he most wanted to work on a racing game, it was his last suggestion that was chosen, an action game to challenge Mario. At the same time, designer Naoto Oshima had been coming up with a game pitch for a speedy game with a character who could be more than a game character. He was told that there was only one person at Sega capable of such a task as programming a game of this nature, and that was Yuji Naka. Both of them had worked on the Phantasy Star games, So of course he approached Naka about working on this as soon as he found out that Naka was free as well. The idea excited Naka, and it made total sense for the Genesis, considering the Mega Drive's biggest strength was its Motorola 68000 processor, which gave the Mega Drive, or Genesis, its really fast CPU speed.
So, the blast processing ads weren't total bullshit.
I like fast things, and I thought that it would be nice to create a game where the more skilled you became, the faster you can complete a stage. Games back then had no backup or saving system, which meant that you had to play right from the beginning every time, and as a result, the very first stage would be played time and time again, making the player very skilled at it. So we thought it would be nice if this would enable the player to complete those stages faster, and that's the basis of Sonic's speed. We also thought this feature would help differentiate Sonic from Mario.
So, let me get this straight. If you're playing Sonic 1 in your weird game-filled 90s trailer, a ninja will come attack you, and you can yeet him out Mario 64 style. Man, this is unrealistic. This only happens in real life with Prower and with Sonic 2.
I will have your Japanese copy, damn it! Oh yes, it shall be mine!
You personally own 47 mint condition copies of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, all collected in a pile in the middle of your room. Why the hell do you need my copy?
It really dusts my doilies.
The project started with a small group within Sega's CSR&D division, later renaming themselves Sonic Team, with a rabbit character, as it made sense to use an animal that could represent speed. And at first, the rabbit could grab and throw objects with his ears. Naka was not happy with this, as he wanted to keep the controls simple so players could grasp the controls quickly. At around this point, Hirokazu Yasuhara had joined the team as his planned departure to the United States was delayed by the First Gulf War, and quickly agreed that this rabbit game just wasn't working out. Naka asked everyone to cough up any ideas they were keeping quiet about a new ability to give the character. But when nobody had anything to offer, Naka finally decided to reveal an idea he'd been keeping secret since high school: somersault jumping and a similar ability on the ground. At first, Oshima was not sure about this, but it did seem to solve the problem, while creating another. The rabbit design just didn't make any sense anymore. While a few character designs were considered for the game, it made the most sense to have an animal who could roll into a ball, such as an armadillo or a hedgehog. While other ideas were considered, a fat man in pajamas and a hedgehog were the most likely candidates. It gets a little hazy about who were the other considered characters, as it seems both the team's concepts for what their game would be gets mixed up with a company-wide competition. According to Oshima, he went on a trip to New York, set up in Central Park, and had people pick between a hedgehog, the fat guy, and a dog. And the fat guy, and especially the hedgehog, were the most popular. According to Sega of America, it was between the hedgehog and a chicken. Naka apparently suggested a panda at some point, due to his love of Miyazaki films. Even with this wacky timeline, some things are known. Sonic was eventually the team's choice. Then, according to sources, they entered the Hedgehog in the competition to become the mascot of Sega. Of 200 entries, Sonic was one of the 8 chosen, and won overall, partially due to the team having more to show off than the others. Although there were some different choices for the name. For decades, Mr. Needlemouse was cited as the original name of the Blue Hedgehog, something that rather recently confused Naka, as he had never heard of this. It turns out that this was a simple mistranslation, with the original work-in-progress name being Mr. Hedgehog. This was always meant to be replaced, and while they had played around with working off the Japanese word of Kozoku, meaning speed of light, trying to make a name out of it, and later Rai Supai and LS, they eventually settled on Sonic, although there was some worry at first about using such a common term. The design seemed to come along much quicker. The design emulates classic animation from the Golden Age, like Mickey Mouse or Felix the Cat. Blue was chosen to be his main color to represent Sega. His shoes were based on Michael Jackson's outfit from the Bad album, with the colors of said shoes representing the most popular character in the world, Santa Claus. His attitude was described to be similar to future president at that time, Bill Clinton. With the project finally fully greenlit in April 1990, it wasn't long before the team started to try to have some world building. There seems to be at least 3 different drafts for a world for the Blue Hedgehog as far as I can tell, and while I can't be sure which predates which, this is based on the most likely scenario. See, what I think was the original world of Sonic is seen in this image here. Sonic entering a world of nightmares to rescue his very Jessica Rabbit-esque girlfriend, Madonna.
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way. By Rule 34 artists. A lot.
Gotta go. Hey, guy!
What's up, Discount John Goodman?
You're the first serious gamer I've seen all morning. Check this out, brand new 16-bit Super Nintendo with Super Mario World. Wow!
Did he have an orgasm? Mario World is great and all, but dang, dude.
Look at these radical colors, huh?
I love how this guy talks. I definitely buy whatever he's selling, although it's probably laced with cocaine.
That game
I'll take Sonic and Genesis.
I knew that.
What salesman would be upset with a sale like that? Or is 90s Nintendo gonna punish him for selling a Sega console? Knowing Nintendo, they would try.
Sonic the Hedgehog. More action, more speed. Sega Genesis. It's a whole lot more for less.
Madonna was given a big no from Sega of America. Objections came across almost immediately, and while there's some conflicting stories about who got rid of her, of course Sega of America, especially the quote-unquote mother of Sonic, Madeline Schroeder, claims she got rid of her. But I'm more inclined to believe Sonic Team, saying they took her out to remove any easy comparisons to Princess Peach.
Oh, but fucking Eggman is fine, right? Fat piece of shit with a mustache all in red. Nobody saw that connection?
Yeah, you are right. Wait. Who are you?
Well, I've been used to the name Motzi, but you can also call me the baddest bitch you'll ever know, motherfucker.
Alright. But how did you get here?
The Italian let me in.
Rudie!
Sorry, she gave me a mech figure I wanted for a long time to bring her here.
Fine, you can stay. Wait, where's Prower? Oh, right. Crap.
Let me in! Please!
Oh, woo.
I think it's a shame that Madonna was removed. Maybe a couple things changed, like making her more than a damsel, but listen, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is one of my favorite films of all time. This could have worked. It's also just funny how history repeats itself, but either way, it seems Madonna was removed around the same time the Nightmare plot was. How do I know this is a world of nightmares? Well, in January 2020, a fan reached out to Mr. Naoto Oshima with a theory about the world being aliens, with all the strange creatures, but Mr. Oshima gave the real answer. This is a world of nightmares, based on the translated quote here, and I should know. Hi everyone, my name is Fan. It was me who asked him. Never thinking I'd ever get a response, but I just got rather lucky. The fact that I had anything to do with research of this legendary franchise means the world to me. It's something I take real pride in. I do sort of wish I got some form of credit, but hey, I'm not going to change it myself. Besides, I have something new to tell you all.
Lightning does strike twice, bitches.
The first time Sonic was shown to the public, it was using this draft. This was the famous Tokyo Toy Show demo, something that has been sought after for years after Naka claimed it went missing sometime between 1990 and the mid-2000s. We can see one of the enemies from the aforementioned concept art here, making me believe this concept was still in use at least until the end of June 1990. Rather recently, a new magazine scan popped up and gave us some new information of this demo, including something about the gameplay and the quotes in the article. The most interesting being a bit about Sonic punching and kicking enemies. I asked Oshima himself about this, since we all figured that Sonic was the design that was chosen because of the ball maneuver winning out. This was his statement. At that time, the game design had not been decided yet.
This is a huge deal.
Right, dude. This means to me that at this stage in development, little had been figured out in Sonic's world other than the Hedgehog running fast. And since we know development was greenlit sometime in April of 1990, I think it's safe to say that little had been done at this time. What this means as well is that the famous 1990 Tokyo Toy Show prototype was in fact an auto demo. It all adds up, and honestly, there's too many factors to it not being playable. If they hadn't even figured out the game design at this point, this demo, which was shown in very little amounts and short and secretive, and with Sega using auto demos again in the near future, I think it's safe to say this demo was in fact a very short bit of Sonic running around in the early Green Hill Zone, and some executive at Sega, or a publicist, bullshitted something about Sonic punching and kicking when asked about the demo. This demo is more than likely rushed out to show the press that Sega had something to compete with the Super Famicom, or was actually used to pitch Sonic to Sega executives and was reused for the toy show. While this demo would be a huge find, I highly doubt there would be much to discover in the code for this build. And sorry, not even Oshima remembers what the bottom of that sign said.
God f***ing damn it, this stupid sign has been the bane of our existence for a decade now!
Hey, handsome.
Who's this?
Oh, Prower, this is Motzi. Rudie kind of let her in because she bribed him with a toy.
It's not a toy! I'll dust your doilies. I swear I'll dust them.
What the fuck?
I got a game I could play as an icebreaker with you, Wolf Boy.
Okay, what did you have in mind?
Fuck in your bitch fuck hole asshole bitch fuck with your bitch fucking in your fuck ass bitch fuck you bitch asshole.
Can we even air this anymore?
Mark this video as made for kids. I fucking dare you, YouTube.
Anyways, we have some concept art of Sonic from what I assume was after this period, of Sonic and his bandmates. See, originally Sonic had a cast of animal friends, not unlike the small animals that are inside Badniks in the final game, but Sonic-sized, in a band with Sonic as the lead singer with such members as Max Monkey, Mock the Rabbit, Sharps the Parakeet, who I've renamed Edgy Cock.
Ooh, I like that name.
Please shut up. And finally, Vector the Crocodile, the only one of these characters that ever got a second chance. At some point, the plans for these characters were dropped, which is usually credited to Sega of America, and the animated sound test involving the band was dropped, which made the room for this iconic chant you hear in the final game. Yeah, so Sega of America really wanted to change things about the game to have it appeal to the North American market, but at the end of the day, as much as I wish the band and Madonna made it, the decisions clearly worked, and who knows if it was the right or wrong decision, it's all up for debate. That being said, Japan was clearly not happy with the decision Sega of America came up with, but Tom Kalinske was allowed to do with what he wanted, changing the art, packing the game with the Genesis, and bringing the price of the console down to better compete with Nintendo.
In those days, I hated the American change to the look and feel, and I didn't know how the consumers would perceive it. But looking back, that's one of the reasons that it succeeded.
Alright, Japan, let's see what you did to advertise Sonic. Okay, that's pretty cool. This looks promising. Jesus Christ! That doesn't sound like cheer, that sounds more like a group of people scarred for their lives. That's only the second ad today that's traumatized me. It's a miracle good word of mouth exists because yikes. Huh. That's the second time this video I've made a Crash Bandicoot reference. While all of this was going on from the beginning, Masato Nakamura was chosen to compose the music for Sonic the Hedgehog. The entire soundtrack is phenomenal, but I'm going to let the experts tell you all about it.
I was 3 years old when Sonic the Hedgehog came out, but besides the fact that I was drawn into the Sonic universe from the characters and the gameplay and everything else, the one constant that's always caught my attention, especially for the games that came out for the Mega Drive or Genesis, is the music itself. So many things have been said before about the way Masato Nakamura composed the music for the original 2 Sonic games, but that music really continues to resonate over the past 3 decades, especially in the original game, with the music from Green Hill Zone and Marble Zone and Scrap Brain, and I can go on and on about all the wonderful things that Nakamura brought to the table, not only just for the game itself, but just how he helped expand musical composition for video games and taking the experiences that he had as a bass player and as a member of Dreams Come True, and how he took those intricacies of musical composition and the way that he was used to playing in his band and brought it into video games. Because when you think back to the music that was coming out of, I mean, everybody thinks of Koji Kondo for the Nintendo with the stuff that he did for The Legend of Zelda and what he did for the Super Mario series. And he had to work within the limitations of the system. But I think Masato Nakamura really helped to push music in video games into another level, no pun intended, because he brought a different perspective, treating it more like composing a film score or setting the music to the particular tableau that he saw on screen, as opposed to just, this is the game, I know what's going on with the game, and I'm just going to try to create cute little melodies that will go with the action. So, much better things have been said by others about Nakamura-san and his contributions to the video game world, but again, thank you for the wonderful music that you composed for this game.
The music of Sonic 1 is something that shouldn't be taken for granted. While it's very commonly heard, it's such a beautiful work of art, and it's perfectly made for each zone that makes an appearance. Anytime I hear a track from Sonic 1, and I see the zone it's in, I think it fits perfectly, and that only strengthens my connection between the game and myself. The music is complex yet simple at the same time, and it's a great mix. The music of Sonic 1 to me is grade A.
I didn't treat Sonic as a game, but a film. Because the graphic is great and it has a very strong story. So Sonic staff explained to me, it's gonna be like this, it's gonna be like this. And I started, writing songs. My inspiration comes from each graphic, each stages. The Mega Drive system, the sound system is very limited. It was really, really tricky, but that limitation, inspired me a lot.
Now, being that this is a very simple to understand game about Hedgehog beating scientists in a Tom and Jerry scenario, you think after a little busty, blunt, proper lady, and band member Nightmare Growing Pains, the story even between the different versions wouldn't be too complicated, but you don't know Sega very well, do you?
So, it turns out that Sega of Japan did write a story for Sonic the Hedgehog's origins. Kind of. According to the Sonic the Hedgehog technical files and the abridged version that was posted in the Sonic Adventure 2 birthday pack, Sonic the Hedgehog was the brainchild of one Mary Garnett, a popular writer of children's books in the US during the 1940s. Her husband was a test pilot for a plane that would break the sound barrier. Since his hair would stick up after taking off his helmet, she'd nickname him Hedgehog. Sonic was created when she decided to paint the Sonic 1 logo on his husband's jacket, but she also made him the protagonist of Mary's stories that she'd make up for his daughter, Sherry. Apparently, Mary's husband died attempting to surpass the speed of sound, and all that remained of him was his custom Sonic-themed jacket. I guess rings don't work on humans. 40 years after the accident, a freelance photographer named Meg finds that jacket inside an antique shop. Is that ethical? Reselling a dead person's stuff? Whatever. Meg remembers Sonic as the protagonist of one of the stories the mother of one of her friends would make up to entertain them. She happily buys the jacket, and the story makes sure you know something made her feel quite comfortable and safe with it on. Long story short, Meg gets to the air show she has to cover for her assignment and takes some pictures. One of the plane veers off and starts falling to the ground. The resulting explosion almost makes her pass out, but a helping hand gets her out of the fire. Meg passes out and reawakens in a hospital. She is told that she was found miles away from the explosion. And as she looks to the jacket, she sees that the emblem is gone. And as she develops the pictures, she finds out that it was Sonic that saved her. That's right! Sonic the Hedgehog has been unchained and let loose into the real world. Allegedly. The Sonic the Hedgehog technical files also elaborate on the game's story, which was adapted from Mrs. Garnett's tales. Sonic was born on Christmas Island, which has never been explored or referenced since, but has left in search of adventure. He's a bit of a globetrotter, and he's been to so many places that he doesn't have a proper home.
How very done, both of you, Sega of Japan. Unfortunately, that's still better than what the Americans were gonna give us. It's a first draft, sure, but you want to take this one? Random voice of person the audience doesn't know?
Sonny Hedgehog. Yeah, that's right. Sonny is a normal, regular hedgehog. Except it's impossible to tell whether or not he's an anthropomorphic cartoon character or regular animal because the writing in this thing is so inconsistent. But shh! He lives outside a burger joint in the iconic Sonic location. You know the one, Hardy, Nebraska. Unfortunately for him though, while on a jog, his father falls into the well-known Nebraskan landmark, the Lake of Acid, and unfortunately passes away. So Sonny dedicates his life to being as fast and cool as he was. Truly noble. Well, seasons pass and it's time for him to hibernate? See what I mean about being difficult to tell whether or not he's a cartoon character? One minute he's running track for his school, and the next minute he's eating bugs and rotting garbage outside McDonald's. Ugh. Well, thankfully for Sonny, he finds himself a new daddy, a psychotic ex-government scientist named Ovi Kintobor. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Kintobor rescues poisoned and struggling baby animals, who he makes his assistants. But how he makes these wild woodland creatures his servants is not important right now, because he's contained all the world's evil into the 6, count 'em, 6 Chaos Emeralds. Tiffany cut, don't you know? But the very stable old man has no idea where the 7th one is, the one that's supposed to stabilize all of them, despite the fact he said he cut them into the shapes they are. Does that mean he lost it? For that matter, he was the one cutting rocks containing pure evil into fancy shapes, which he said before could be extremely unstable and release their energy at any time and destroy the entire world. I guess he couldn't pass up this illustrious stone-cutting opportunity. Somehow Sonny, who is supposed to be a normal hedgehog, or so we think, he could be a cartoon hedgehog, runs so fast he breaks the sound and light barrier, which unlocks the blue hair dye cosmetic option. Kintobor renames him to Sonic in celebration of this miraculous feat. I mean, I know a lot about this Sonny character, but getting a handle on this new unfamiliar Sonic guy, it's gonna be a bit too much to handle. I just know Sonny way too well. I love Sonny. And apparently the book agrees because we don't actually call him Sonic for several paragraphs. However, not all is well, because the ring-powered machine that compresses evil into emeralds blows up because of a wave of radiation inside the earth. But whoa, it turns out that Kintobor gets caught in the emerald splash and fuses with a rotten egg to become Kintobor, but spelled backwards. Do you get it, robotic Kintobor? Sonic has to save the animal assistants from his deliciously hard-boiled wrath, and darts off all the way to Green Hill Zone. I knew Sonic 1 was pretty short, but sheesh, at least Marvel took a couple minutes. He then only realizes that Robotnik must be stopped from doing stuff and things and whatever, so he must go back to Scrap Brain and face him. Scrap Brain in Nebraska? Is South Island Nebraska?
To be fair, most of that was dropped from a first draft, and any lingering details from this plot were more or less dropped by 1993, barely even used by the US team. It certainly isn't in the US manual, but interestingly enough, the British Sonic the Comic did use this as a form of baseline for what their stories would be, so it wasn't completely unused. What is the plot of Sonic 1? Well, according to the Japanese manual, you know what? I like to present this in a sort of storybook form. Take it away, other random voice people don't know.
The evil scientist Dr. Eggman has begun hatching another evil plan. Sonic, blast that annoying impertinent hedgehog. My great plans are always spoiled thanks to him. This time, I'll pinch and crush him with the power of my science. This is South Island, a treasure trove of jewels and historic relics, and it is also said that this is the island where the illusionary Chaos Emeralds lay dormant. Chaos Emeralds are a super substance that gives energy to all living things. Furthermore, they can also be used as nuclear weapons or high-energy laser weapons by science and technology. However, no one knows how to obtain them. That is because South Island is an island that moves around and the Chaos Emeralds exist within the dimensions created by the island. One day, crisis visited upon the island. Dr. Eggman and his gang got down on the island. I will obtain the Chaos Emeralds, even if I have to dig up this entire island for them. Dr. Eggman built a huge fortress in the corner of the island and started development. That blasted Eggman, he still won't learn his lesson. Sonic came running after hearing rumors. Dr. Eggman's troublemaking is nothing new. Up until now, Sonic dealt with him every time. It appears that Dr. Eggman thinks of Sonic as his arch-nemesis, but he was never any match for Sonic. But this time, oh my, something is amiss. Behold, Sonic! This time, everything will be different. I turned the island's animals into robots! You guys? All of them will do as I say. In other words, this whole island is your enemy. This time, the world shall be mine.
It's dramatic. Gets you excited, and it does so much to explain what's going on in a fun, unique way. How did they handle it in the US? Robotnik bad, kidnapping small animals to power his deadly Badniks. You Blue Hedgehog, smash Robotnik. Grab giant emeralds, except only one of them are actually green. Don't get rewarded for it until the next game. Great job, America. Thanks for all your world building.
Stop making fun of my country.
Stop making it so easy then.
Oh yeah? I can yell too! I'm eloping with your Sonic 2 cartridge, and there's nothing you can do about it!
Explaining the basic fundamentals of Sonic, huh? This is gonna be weird, but I'll do my best. Sonic, on the fundamental basic level, is simple to understand. You initially seem to have one ability, and that's to jump, in which Sonic naturally curls up to attack. I say this, but a common glitch is this non-spin jump that can really mess you up in certain areas and seems to happen when Sonic is too close to a wall. Luckily, for the most part, Sonic is safe from most Badniks in his ball form, which is why the next ability, the roll, is so useful. Sonic can actually roll with his momentum, something very natural on a Genesis D-pad for example. By sliding your thumb down from left or right to the down position for just a second, Sonic will use his momentum to continue going, and this is how Sonic can reach his highest speeds going down slopes with his roll.
Sonic was always good with his momentum.
Oh, right, yeah, the outfit. Okay, Madonna, what did you ever see in him?
Well, simply put, he really dusps my doilies.
See, that doesn't even sound sexy coming from you. A good roll is super satisfying and has one good trade-off. Jumping from a roll in this game can result in a lot of good distance in the direction Sonic is rolling, but you lose a lot of your control in the air to change your course. It's something that when you get used to it, you'll always be doing rolls. Sonic, naturally his speed, will end up getting hit a lot. Luckily, the game solves this with the ring system. Emulating the coin system in Mario, various gold rings are scattered around the stage that Sonic can pick up. Unlike coins, these have another effect other than the video game trope of giving you a 1-up. No enemy outside a pit, being crushed, glitch, or drowning can actually hurt Sonic when he has at least one single ring. Instead, he'll fly back, dropping all his rings in the process, but you can collect a few, usually not all of them, back. This is genius. This eliminates a lot of problems a game like this would have had, and it lets players ease back, be a little bit more liberal with their moves.
Sonic was always liberal with his moves.
Really, I always thought it was conservative.
YTer knock it off. Power-ups are stored in computer monitors scattered around the zones. 10 rings, speed shoes, invincibility, extra lives, and a shield for a free hit are all found at these 90s CRT TVs, and a spin attack reveals reward, not electric shocks. Other than that, the game is kept simple. Oh yeah, there is a 10-minute time limit, but I don't see how you could actually spend that long on one of these stages if you were actively trying to finish it. And finally, if you are capable enough to keep at least 50 rings at the end of a stage, a giant ring appears. And if you hop into it before Sonic runs away from the signpost, you know, Sonic's equivalent to the flag post for Mario, you can enter the special stage. Once in year, this mind freak of a stage starts with the world spinning around you as Sonic tries to explore a gauntlet to find the Chaos Emerald. The one thing you need to avoid are the most false advertising objects in video game history, the gold blocks. Touch
touching them kicks you out, so they aren't the goal. Anyways, most blocks are safe to touch, but if you reverse the direction of the stage is rotating or speed up the rotation. But for the most part, it's not too hard to get to the emerald. The emerald is always surrounded by multicolored rocks that Sonic can slowly destroy with the spinball form. But this is a trial of frustration usually. I seem to get unluckier as time goes by in these, and I swear, I get worse and worse with these as time goes on. A fun fact is that there is code in the game for a smoother scroll in these stages, which was actually disabled, likely to make these stages easier on the player. Let's move on to the regular zones. Here it is, the zone that everybody complains about whenever we see it in the new games. Does it really matter which of these green forest zones they continuously pump out? Well, there's a reason the first is still the best. It's built perfectly to match Sonic's unique abilities, as you race past green grassy slopes with checkered dirt, symbolizing the inherent desire to race through the zones. The palm trees in the stage give off a late 80s CGI look, something that unfortunately the sequels moved on from pretty quickly, a side effect of the advancements in CGI technology during the early 90s. Something the zone has in spades is memorable set pieces, like our first loop-de-loop, dangerous moving platforms over a bed of spikes, often a younger player's worst nightmare, and first lesson in the world is an evil place that wants to make you suffer. The Spike Bridge of Act 3, and in my opinion, the coolest thing about this stage, hidden shortcuts only discoverable through using Sonic's roll ability properly and effectively. With the Green Hill Zone, accept no substitutions. It's iconic for a reason. Stop me if you've heard this Sonic 1 review. While Green Hill Zone is a wonderful opening stage, the rest of the game falters after that and becomes an average platformer. Sonic 1 is not aged as well as the rest of the classic series, and the sequels do this game's job better. Sonic has always had a rocky transition to 3. I want to kick my own ass. Now, I get it. This place ain't no chemical plant, Hydra City, Hydrocity, whatever you want to call it, Collision Chaos, or chemical plant again, but I don't think it deserves half the crap it gets nowadays. As a kid, I thought this zone was pretty cool with the Ruins theme, as something I really think that Sonic stages do well is make you wonder about the ancient civilization that once occupied these areas. And there are fun things about the stage. Running across melting grass over lava? That's fun. Shortcuts by timing your platforming well enough? Fun. Riding on lava is a cool set piece, even if the block does take forever to float to your destination. It isn't the best second zone in Sonic games, and it is a tad bit slow, but I still like it.
Well, Marble Zone actually led to the creation of Hilltop Zone in Sonic 2 and Marble Garden in Sonic 3.
Never mind, fuck this place. Spring Yard Zone is underrated. There, I said it. Casino Knight's older brother, we're on the outskirts of a city in the mountains, with flashing lights and plenty of dangerous bumpers to deflect Sonic anywhere except where you want to go. Plenty of secrets with plenty of speed, and there are only light slowdown areas to these blocks straight out of the Castle of Illusion. It's a great zone, and honestly, I'd rather replay this than the overrated Casino Night Zone. This is the one zone I'm not going to even try to defend. It seemed like a good idea to give Sonic a weakness, but the water thing was overkill. The slopes that were in all the past stages are gone, leading to very blocky platforming with the worst hazard of all, water. Sonic can't swim, and all his abilities, including his trademark speed, are pretty much gone. And if he doesn't find air in 30 seconds, he drowns. Luckily, air bubbles are common, and waiting next to an air bubble pocket will usually yield a nice and fat air bubble for Sonic to jump into and reset the invisible timer. Other than that, there isn't much to say. Imagine a Bowser castle underwater, and you have this place. Fireballs, spikes, moving platforms, switches, it has all of it. I got nothing to defend myself here. This zone sucks, and it's ruined so many players' opinions on this game. I could tell you that there's a shortcut to beat Act 1 rather quickly, and with practice it isn't so bad, but that's like saying, oh, the 20th time you punched that bear? It might go better for your stupid ass. Now, after that dick flattening event, I think I'd even praise Hilltop Zone if it was next. but instead, we have the most underrated zone in Sonic history. In this city with admittedly lots of construction going on, we have roads up in the air. So high up, the biggest danger here are the gigantic drops. I guess someone was building an F-Zero course on South Island, and Sonic decided to take a detour here to call Captain Falcon a bitch. That's all I got. I love this stage. It's Speed Highway before that was even a thought. Scrap Brain Zone is where we'll find Robotnik at last, and the first 2 acts are no joke. You can go fast here if you're either a Star Hedgehog player, or you have a death wish. Giant buzzsaws everywhere. Fire, electricity, giant pits, moving machinery that will crush you. It's gonna take either a lot of rings or skill to get out of here in one piece. After Act 2, we get an in-game cutscene. Something that doesn't happen anywhere else in the game, where Sonic is unable to get to Robotnik because of a defense laser, and he drops us into Labyrinth Zone. Bastard! I'm pretty sure this is the evilest thing Fatty Lobotnik over here has done, and this is the same jerk who puts small animals into robots to be organic batteries. Take my advice, when you hit the switch to start the gauntlet, take this shortcut. It will save you a lot of pain, and we'll get back and get set for the final battle in the— No. This isn't a new zone. It's just a boss fight. Let's do this. It's not really a problem. Most of the bosses in this game are extremely simple. I'm just happy it's not another Labyrinth Gauntlet fight. Robotnik here alternates between 4 pistons, and being crushed is the biggest danger. There aren't any rings for us to pick up in most versions of this game, and we alternate from dodging pistons and electrical orbs. It's only 8 hits to beat him, and only 8. Robotnik barely gets to his Eggmobile, and you can hit him one last time to really tell him off here.
I did it! I did it! I did it! Okay, you did it!
We watch as Sonic runs back to the Green Hill Zone as the Chaos Emeralds we collected react and mess up some of the local plants. If you don't get the emeralds, Sonic just looks pissed. That's pretty much your only reward for finishing the game with all 6 emeralds, but I feel so incomplete if I don't get them, so I get them. And that's Sonic 1. On to the prototype content. Now, it may seem a little weird to split up the development and prototype sections, but in order to compare to the final game, I needed to make sure that there was context, so I can better explain the differences between the known prototypes and the final game. It's just something I have to do, so I apologize. The first thing I should mention are these early concept art pieces of zones that never made it into the final game, and never were in the game as far as I can tell. Since these are the closest things to unused levels Sonic 1 has, I felt the need to include them here. The most shocking one, to me at least, is this one. Number 1, Metallic Stage. A gleaming, gold-plated landscape with a Southeast Asian feel. This one is placed before Green Hill, so could this have been the original first zone of Sonic 1? I mean, who can surely say, but the numbers of the next few do resemble the original level layout planned early on for Sonic 1, so it's entirely possible. Just think about how different history would have been if Green Hill wasn't the original stage. This may have been an early Starlight Zone, for at this point that is kinda not here. But who really knows? The zones continue as normal through an early Green Hill, Labyrinth, remember it's the beta order, Marble Zone, and then 5 is all new as well. Number 5, Space Theme Stage. Your jump height will increase. The image shows a concept for a 2-player mode, something Naka regretted not being able to get into the final game. Stage 6 at this point is also completely original. Number 6, Great Spirit World themed stage, based off of China. This one is rather interesting to me, bizarre at the same time. Stage 6 and 7 seem to have been combined to form Scrap Brain Zone, and like I mentioned before, Starlight Zone was not here, so I assume that was the original first stage. Anyways, as for prototypes, there seems to be at least 8 different pre-release versions of Sonic 1 that we have evidence of. The earliest build of a game with Sonic seen in it that we currently know about. Yes, there is footage from February 1990 of Naka working on what would become Sonic, but this is the first build with a blue hedgehog in it. Based on all the information we have, and Oshima basically stating to me that the game hadn't even been figured out yet, I have to believe this is an auto demo, and if it was found, it may lead to several contradictions to the development story of Sonic 1. Earlier I mentioned that the rabbit was scrapped and the roll move is thought of. Well, if Sonic didn't have his roll ability here, as magazine quotes straight up bring up punching and kicking, well, that kind of changes things.
If there's a rabbit sprite in that ROM, or Sonic's lack of spin animation, we could pretty much change what we know about this game's development. But I do believe, based on Oshima's statement to me, that this was in fact an auto demo. What we do know for sure is that this build was still using the Nightmare World concept, and that this build hasn't been seen publicly in over 30 years. We can all hope that it still exists somewhere, buried on some old server somewhere, but the chances of that get slimmer and slimmer every year. The next time Sonic would be shown to the public in any form would be between January 10th, 1991 to January 13th, 1991, and would have two versions shown off. One would be B-roll footage, and another would have been the one playable at the show floor. The B-roll footage is earlier than the one shown at the event, most visible in the early Brighter Water Green Hill Zone and an early debug mode. There's also a monitor seen in the B-roll footage that rotates between all the monitor power-ups. That's pretty interesting. In the screenshots available to us, we can see Green Hill, Marble Zone, and Sparkling Zone, which was modified in Spring Yard rather late into development, all in early stages, and Scrap Brain Zone, Clockwork Zone at this stage, barely even being started. The biggest difference between the prototype we have and this one, in my opinion, is the Marble Zone, with different graphics for the UFOs, which also didn't make it into the final game, and the lava as well. This build intrigues me the most to find, as after a long period of not seeing anything on the game, we can assume lots of things were changed or deleted in closed doors. Some stuff may be lingering in this ROM that we'll never know about unless it's found. I can only hope it is. The next build of the game seems to be the exact same one we finally got our hands on after all these years, and it also seems to be the most circulated of all the Sonic 1 pre-release builds. Now, I call it the Sonic 1 Nick Arcade prototype because it seems to match a build used in the Nick Arcade pilot filmed in some point in April 1991. But due to so little footage existing, it's really hard to exactly say. There are clear differences booting up this ROM to the final, like how Spring Yard is still Sparkling Zone, and the Labyrinth Zone has no water and a completely different, and in my opinion better, background. The press start text is visible and the HUD has ring and not rings, but these differences are not exclusive to this build and could be seen in earlier versions as well. Speaking of rings, a big difference at this stage of development, and perhaps earlier, is that it only takes 50 rings to get an extra life. If they left this in the final game, I would probably regularly end the game with 30 or 40 lives, so I can see why this was changed. Some people assume checkpoints were not planned at this stage of development, but I doubt that very much. I already have a big video from the release of this build that talks more about this early Sonic 1, so I'm not going to repeat myself here. I'm just happy that the build finally showed up. A year and a month later, it's still shocking. A very similar build to the previous version. The most interesting difference is that while the HUD still says Ring, the sunflowers of Green Hill Zone are their final color. I'm not saying that's the only difference, but that's the most significant to me. In July 1991's volume of Shinsaku Soft Video, a series of Japanese promotional videos, a near final version of Sonic 1 is shown, yet still having quirks of earlier builds, like Sonic's really cute little fist bump animation, the drum samples having a lower pitch, Spring Yard to Spring Yard finally, some things still linger from the Sparkling Zone variant, and the biggest change in this build is that Labyrinth has its water and the drowning timer shows up within seconds of Sonic entering water. Thank Christ that was changed. Interestingly enough, the special stage still is its early version, placeholder Chaos Emerald and all. Seems like the rest of the game was the priority, which makes sense. The last two versions aren't as interesting, as the American manual has a few screenshots showing some stuff from earlier builds. But would you believe me when I say the final American release is still technically not the final game? Now, if I called the video the American Sonic 1 as a prototype, that would be clickbait. What I mean is, Sonic 1 actually released a month after the final game in Japan, in July 1991, with small additions. For example, the clouds in Green Hill Zone scroll by themselves, and in Labyrinth, there is a parallax scrolling effect underwater, something that doesn't exist in the American version. We call this version Rev 001, while the English or American copy is Rev 000. There are other bug fixes and such, but the most interesting thing to me is that if you're playing on a Japanese console, 0000001, doesn't matter, just Japanese console, you can enable a secret credit screen that also re-enables the Lost Press Start text. As for the final game, lots of what was left is stuff we talked about, like the victory jump animation sprites. But the most interesting bits involve a shrinking or falling animation for Sonic, a sliding animation, an unused goggles power-up which people still argue about its true use, and several special stage blocks removed from the final game, like an extra life orb and various ones that are numbered zones 1 through 6. I doubt this was used for a former warp zone, but who knows. A W block, W is commonly used as a pun in Japanese culture to mean double, but I don't know what that has to do with this. Anyways, there are also some sprites of Robotnik exploding, we can assume for the ending. These are pretty cool. I kinda wish these were used. Overall, there's a lot, but it's all very interesting. When we come back, we'll wrap things up.
Hi, and welcome to Rudie's Robot Review, the segment in which I express my opinions about robotics and you validate them. Despite his IQ, Dr. Eggman has always been described as having a childish personality. It is no surprise that his creations are just as cute and colorful as the toys he probably played with when he was little. Let's take a look at the Badniks encountered in Sonic 1. The Motobug is incredibly cute and iconic. His spiky little mitten hands, which are how he attacks, and his monowheels are really adorable. How do you come up with a red unicycle diesel ladybug? Anyways, he is way too slow and predictable to be a threat in this game. The Buzz Bomber is another iconic Badnik, just as cute as a Motobug but much deadlier. Color blue and this time based on a bee, or on a wasp. And like most wasps, it can sting unsuspecting prey via laser beams. There's a reason why you haven't left my house in 40 years. The Chopper's thing is that it bounces up and down in a desperate attempt to chew you up. It will hit you once? Twice maybe? But this guy's all looks with his violent red color and sharp teeth. You don't scare me anymore. I never owed you any money anyways, so stop asking me for cash. The crab meat. What does that name mean actually? He has no flesh to speak of. He does waddle from side to side, sometimes poop out a laser, and waddle the other way, which makes him very avoidable. I am very fond of his color scheme and cross-eyed gaze. Just what is he thinking? The Neutron... Okay, hitting these guys is a pain, cause I always forget that they're invulnerable, somehow, when they first appear. I do love the idea of them being rockets that hide for hours until Sonic arrives. Rocket chameleons also make for really cute plushy ideas. I love a tiny neutron that hangs out on the wall. The Batbrain has never spoken to me personally. Part of it is that he's sort of underwhelming compared to Green Hill's Badniks. Part of it is that, I don't know, he's just very chill. He hangs around, he flaps by, and he returns to the ceiling, clocked punch for the day. I can respect that. You know, if it was up to me, I think I'd just make the Caterkiller the Badnik that you have to destroy to learn to roll. But he appears in the second zone, and he can be dispatched by bopping his head. Oh well, I guess he's very cute. His tiny little antennae are just precious, and I guess I have a thing for big eyes. The Spikes looks like a fusion of the Motobug and Caterkiller, but with an extra dash of I slipped on a banana peel. Not even big eyes can save this design. Is he supposed to be an hermit crab? Doesn't look like it to me. Sorry man, but you're pretty useless too. A roll, and you're out. Better luck next time? The roller is, for all intents and purposes, the first Metal Mecha Silver Robot Pseudo Titanium Clone Sonic. He comes at you, rolls, then opens up to see what's up, and hops away. A lot of people say that he scared them in Spring Yard, but I never got scared at him. He's like if a lunchbox could do the spin attack. And that's just adorable, isn't it?
I'm just interrupting just to quickly say that yes, the roller is freaking terrifying.
I just realized the Burrobot is based on a mole, and that actually changes how I view it. It's not only 100% huggable, it's also really good at hiding and hitting you. Eggman should have more of these guys. The Jaws is the vertically unchallenging brother of the Chopper. He's really cute. He doesn't do a whole lot, like his siblings, but he can move in water however he wants, and the Chopper has to keep jumping, so sue me. The Orbinaut twins are hard to defeat. One of them, the Uni Uni, is unattackable if Sonic doesn't have invincibility, while the other one, the Unideus, can be defeated once it shoots its spiky balls. They're also kind of bland, which is a shame and wears on their cuteness. The bombs are unkillable and featureless. Next! Finally, we have Bullhog, an infinite dispenser of cannonballs that Sonic has to avoid. His artwork totally sells his design. He is completely and utterly adorable, and I would love to adopt him. Pigs are so cute, you guys. And that's it for now. Tune in next time when I talk about the history of Mazinger Z and Getter Robo and how the first two Super Robot mega hits became trendsetters in America and outside for decades and decades to come. See you next time!
Sonic 1 is a massively important game with an equally impressive legacy. It did things that no other games were doing at the time. It was a trailblazer and a trendsetter. I have nothing but respect and admiration for Sonic 1. That said, it's also quite rare for me to revisit Sonic 1. Everything it set out to do has been done better by its own sequels. If I'm firing up a 2D Sonic game, I'll reach for either 2 or 3 and Knuckles instead of Sonic 1. Still, those games wouldn't have been possible without Sonic 1's blueprints. It set out the design patterns that its sequels refined, and gaming history was forever changed by this 1991 stunner.
Sonic 1 being the first game is a bit rough around the edges, but it is an undeniable classic. It's one of the first video games that I've ever played. It came with my Genesis that we got like years ago for Christmas, along with like Sonic 2, Jurassic Park, and a couple other games that I'm forgetting. We had a bunch. But Sonic 1 was one of the first ones I played because I was under that thing where it's like, oh no, I gotta play the first one first. Design-wise, it feels a little bit more like a normal platformer than we'd see like in Sonic 2 or later games where there's a lot more like running sections, where 1 has a lot of bits where you have to kind of stop and platform and wait for platforms to move. I mean, those still exist in later Sonic games, but there were more of them in 1 versus, say, 2 or 3. The music is really good. I especially love Starlight Zone, and I had that as a ringtone for a couple of years. And I did manage to beat the game with all emeralds on my 21st birthday in a stream while buzzed. Which is weird. I did better playing that game while I was buzzed than when I played it normally. But anyway, that's what I think about Sonic 1. It's good. It's good.
Sonic 1 was a remarkable game for its time. I remember booting up the game on one of those Sega Mega Drive plug-and-plays going around back then, and it absolutely kick-started my obsession with the blue blur. Seeing the title theme with that catchy theme tune and Sonic wagging his finger at you with the cocky smirk before you start the game and learn to roll through loops and along hills, avoid boiling hot lava, amongst much more the game had to offer. The way Sonic zipped and zoomed around the levels caught my interest. This was no basic platformer, that's for certain. Speed and momentum were key elements of the game, rewarding you with it for taking in the level design and using it to your advantage. Well, in the zones you could anyways. I could never bypass Labyrinth Zone though, and it wasn't until much later did I beat the game properly, and then also again at an even later point to get those emeralds for the better ending. It may not hold up quite well against its future successors in this series, But you must admit Sonic 1 was a solid foundation for a concept that oozes such charm with its attitude and the way the game presents itself. And it still is, so much so that I even went out of my way to buy several collections with this game's inclusion in them, as well as real hardware and an actual copy of the original game itself. Even if I personally don't find it in one of my top favourite games nowadays, I still believe Sonic 1 is a treat to play regardless, and if you still haven't played it somehow in this day and age, then I believe you should give it a shot if you already haven't, as playing this game for the first time is magical in of itself. Now, if you would excuse me, I do believe I have a schedule to keep.
When it comes to my memories of Sonic the Hedgehog, one thing really stands out, and that is that, at least in 1991, I was probably the only person around that had to actually pay for the game. And that was because I had gotten a Genesis before 1991 when it came with Altered Beast. And I was really excited at the time to have the Genesis, but I never thought in my life that they would cut the price, and I never thought that they would take out Altered Beast and replace it with something else. So, Sonic comes out, and almost instantly it's free with the Genesis, and you're thinking to yourself like, oh, I should have just waited. So I ended up buying it anyway, and that was fine. It was great, but maybe I appreciated it a little bit more because I had to actually put down money for it, and it wasn't quote-unquote free. Then, when Sonic News hit all the gaming magazines in 1991 after the game had been released, there were all kinds of news and secrets and codes and things like that, and we learned things like the debug mode and the level select. It really just made that game a lot of fun. On top of just what's naturally in the game itself. Here's a new game, it's the biggest game, it's a hot game, and you can very easily select any world you want from the start, and you can kind of create your own levels in a way too. I really thought that was amazing at the time. As far as the game, I would have to say my favorite zone is the Starlight Zone. That music is just something else, and the way that the graphics of that stage are with kind of like a green foreground and a simple black background with stars, and the stars kind of scrolled in a certain way depending on how you moved around the screen with the music. It was just great. It was just my favorite zone, and I just enjoyed sitting there listening to the music as much as I enjoyed playing it as well. And basically, coming out of 91 and going into 92, sitting there with Sonic, just knowing that you were playing the biggest game around. You had it. You were at the start of something that was very special. I guess that's about it. Those are my memories.
Here comes Super Sonic. I killed Master Badnik. Super Sonic and Sonic.
Alright, how is that for a Sonic 1 video, Mr. God Complex?
I tell ya, this does quite dust my door.
If you finish that sentence, I will find some way to make Tim Burton make a live-action Shrek reboot and... Oh, you know what? I'll just finish this. Well, it's back to me again. Sonic the Hedgehog 1 is a strange case. So many will write it off for not being as good as its sequels. It's easy to forget why this game was so groundbreaking in 91, a time where slopes were still new to platformers, and everyone was emulating Super Mario Bros. 3. including Nintendo, who, for as good as Super Mario World was, it was more of what worked in Mario 3. It was a safe sequel, not really pushing the Super NES to its very limit, and that's what helped Sonic succeed. If Sonic didn't work, it could very well have been a world where Nintendo was allowed to be the evil Nintendo they wanted to be in 1990, controlling everything. If Nintendo followed that path, imagine what the gaming industry would look like now. But a company said no, who had the pressure on them from the beginning of not only creating a character to combat Mario, but also make something that they could be proud of. The stars all aligned in Sonic 1's favor. Like our new friend, Sonic was designed to be a stylish game. It took a genius like Naka to use the Genesis properly and give it the game it needed to compete with the Super Nintendo, and the biggest name in the industry. And yes, if you talk about the game now, you'll hear the same regurgitated opinion over and over again, that it isn't as good as what follows, that the game has slower platforming and that has made it age not as well. I cry foul on that. Sonic the Hedgehog 1 is a very excellent platformer, which may have fundamental problems from the time it was released, but it's still fun. It attracted so many people then and now to it with its bright colors, alluring gameplay, and mechanics that mostly hold up 30 years later. It created something that means so much to so many different people. Artists, fan game designers, hack developers, who were all inspired to make something with Sonic. And in 2022, nearly 31 years later, it hasn't stopped Sonic any bit. Alright, now then. Motzi, you're overly assertive. You've delivered a startling string of violent profanities on multiple occasions.
Uh-huh.
You've emotionally manipulated Rudie. You've stalked Prower relentlessly. I'm pretty sure what you've done counts as sexual harassment too. You stared at me for like 5 minutes straight, and you smell like camembert, not even mozzarella.
Okay, wrap it up.
Yes, get her out of here.
This isn't easy to say, but welcome to the team.
Wait, what? No, I'm the horny bitch around here. You have to choose between her and me.
Ah!